Don't forget next Saturday, signing up for Covenant Group Workshop. You'll learn more about that from Reverend Nancy. October the 5th, Saturday, the big day of Pride Parade and all kinds of activities in Las Cruces. So be sure to check the table out there, get your sticker with your pronouns, and sign up to help with Pride. The Tomba Art Gallery, 3 different artists this time. Don't forget the opening on the first Friday, September 6th from 5 to 7. Check the back of your order of service for the details on that. And don't forget, we're sponsoring Tents to Rents from the Community of Hope. We've done that before, but that's such a good charity here in Las Cruces. And this month, the Change for Change is being used for the kitty cats at Cats Meow. You probably remember they have room for about 40 cats, and now they have over 100. So if you need a whole batch of cats, go down there and adopt them. Mike is needing volunteers who can work with the group up there, so get in touch with Mike if you're able to do anything more than speak in a microphone. You probably noticed the note on the door as you came in with the picture of all the little darling little chimpanzees there. Is that what they are? Don't forget the Animal Advocates Ministry is thanking the people that have signed the letter with the National Institute of Health, urging the release of the remaining 26 chimpanzees caged at Holloman Air Force Base to live in a sanctuary. If you look into their little faces, you would want to have them in a nice sanctuary. So see Dave Steele out in the lobby there for that. That's it for announcements. We'll start the program.
Good morning. Good morning. And welcome. So good to see you this morning. I'm hoping that you're sort of familiar with this song that we're going to start with today. We've sung it a couple of times this month, and if not, just join in with us. I'll sing the first line, and then join in and feel free to add harmony as we go along. And the words will be up there. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Now join me. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made, love has made, grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. We welcome everybody in the sanctuary this morning. I'm so glad to see everybody. And I thought we had some children a little while ago, but I think they've... there's one. We'd like to welcome the children, too. And if everybody is... if there's anybody on streaming, we welcome them as well. I'm Lynn Pearson, your service associate today. Our service leader will be the Reverend Emerita Nancy Pearson. Nancy Anderson. Yes. Our minister is Reverend Rod Thompson. Our director of music is Catherine Massey. She's joined by this wonderful choir back here. Our director of religious education is Kelly. I should start over. Is Kelly Ingram. Assisting us are Elwin Nunn on camera, Mike Yazko, and it looks like Ed Gamolka on screens, and J.D. Schultz is on sound. I think everything is working back there. We were a little flustered this morning because the sound went out, so forgive me. The chalice table, which I think is gorgeous this morning, was prepared by Diane Lee and Gillian Leng. Our greeters are Steve Hitchka, Diane Lee, and Lisa Peterson. Hospitality is offered by the Social Justice Committee. Please join us for some of that hospitality after the service in the Religious Education Breezeway down there. They'll have coffee, conversation, and undoubtedly something good to eat. We're delighted you're all with us today. If you're visiting the church, we'd like to meet you. If you're comfortable doing so, please rise in body or spirit to introduce yourself by telling us your name and where you're from, but wait until I bring the microphone to you. Do we have any visitors here today who would like to? Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amber. I'm their child. Hi, everybody. This is my child, Silva. Hi, everybody.
I think Mike's not on.
It's not on.
And I'm from Kansas City. Okay.
We're very pleased you've joined us today. If you are a visitor, please fill out a welcome card on the back of the chair in front of you, or one of our greeters can give one to you after the service. That way we'll have your email address, we hope, and we can send you email about activities at the church. Unitarian Universalism has no creed or dogma. We're a covenant-based church, meaning that we agree to live in relationship with each other according to the Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of right relations. We embrace diversity in all its forms, and everyone is welcome. You can learn more about our church on our website, UUCLC.org.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you this morning. And I thank you, Lynn, for the introduction. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but that was a new one. So I invite you now into a time of worship with these words by Mike Young. We come, part of us scattered and shattered, trailing the wear and care of our lives, seeking to be centered and renewed again. Part of us seeking and celebrating a spiritual discipline of learning to pay full attention to who and what we are and what yet might be, trying to live out of that awareness. We come out of differing life experience and speak of those things most important to us in differing ways. We would learn to listen behind the differences for the common human experiences to which they give voice, even as we would cherish and value the diversity that enriches and enlarges the common life we share. We come, part of us, to let go of a past that has confined and tyrannized us, seeking healing and wholeness from which to build new affirmations and commitments. Part of us to affirm a heritage of liberation and compassion, seeking the continuing trust to live out of the best of the wisdom we have been bequeathed. We come knowing some are yet strangers in our midst. Part of us knowing too the stranger within ourselves, waiting to be welcomed and freed. Whoever you are, bring all that you are, for you are welcome here. May you feel welcomed here. So be it.
Chalice lighting today is by Wayne Arneson. In the flame of this chalice, we see the light of faith, the glow of hope, the warmth of service. May we grow in faith, hope, and service as we kindle our lights from its spark. Please rise as you are able for the affirmation of covenant, followed by the doxology in English and Spanish, and remain standing for hymn 347. This church, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, to the end all souls shall grow I was, I'm losing my voice. I was told that we have some technical difficulties and we aren't going to have a time for all ages. So, shall we sing the children out? I'm going to ask Steve Hitch to come up here for a stewardship moment.
Good morning, church. I knew you needed that after Kelly wasn't here. Anyway, the reason I asked Reverend Rod to come up is that last time when the two of us addressed you last week, I talked about money. I talked about time and treasure, and he talked about money. I want to give him a chance to talk about his time and treasure.
Not treasure, that's you.
Time
Talent.
and talent.
Talent. Time I have, not much talent. Steve suggested that I share with you how I ended up in ministry after planning through college, first to be an engineer, bad math, that took care of that, but then to be a coach. Since swimming had been my sport, I was going to be a coach. And somewhere along the line, I remembered the minister that I grew up with. In the Methodist Church, they move you around about every 3 years. My minister was there the entire time. My conclusion was nobody else wanted him. So my thought was, I can at least do that well. So that's taking away the talent part. Time seems to be my master. No matter what my plans are, I end up using more time to do whatever it is than I plan for. And I think, and I'm going to be talking about ministry next week specifically, it will explain, so you got to come back next week, how a minister uses that time other than when you see an hour and a half on Sunday morning. Is that enough?
That's terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There you go. All right, so I've got to talk to you about treasure. Unfortunately, only 8 of you have pledged so far. Come on, look ashamed, all of you. Now, here's the story. We need to get our budget together. I don't see Ed. Where is Ed? He's not here. All right, well, Ed's after me to get a number. That is, how much money are we going to have next year? And I don't know because you all are not pledging. Anyway, the good news is that the 8 that did pledged generously, and we have at this point $51,000. This is the card. We have them out in the front. I have some on my hat in case anybody needs them. Please get them in. You can put them in the basket there. You can deliver them to the church, or you can go online and fill out the form online. Anyways, please pledge. The other news I have is that the preliminary budget has been tallied. I've been told that it still lacks a couple of items, but it's 100,000 more than last year. That means we're going to have to really prune. So, as I said, the future's in your hands. Our future is in your hands. Get your cards in, please. Thank you very much, and thanks for allowing me to do this, Nancy.
This meditation is by Oriah Mountain Dreamer and Native Elder. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for dreams, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, if you can dance in the wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, or to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. I want to know if you can be faithful and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even if it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done for the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
One of the ways we express our care for one another is through sharing of joys or sorrows. Another way we do this is through our stone and water ceremony. We have all the basic elements for life gathered here in our sanctuary. Spirit is above us, and your individual spirit may be represented in our stained glass windows all around the room. The rocks represent earth and stability and foundation. Water is essential for hydration and cleansing. Air is all around us, full of life-giving oxygen and a breeze to clear away cloudy thoughts. Fire in our chalice provides a guiding light and the warmth of community. Please come forward, pick up a stone, and drop it in the water vessel, and silently say to yourselves the joy, sorrow, or concern that you feel. I will drop one last stone for all of the joys and sorrows that were not expressed here today.
This prayer by Deborah Hafner for all that is good in our lives was inspired by the words of Meister Eckhart. If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough. May we whisper thank you for all that is good in our lives. Thank you. May we shout thank you for the abundance of blessings. Thank you. May we feel thank you, thank you, thank you deep within our hearts and around us right now. May we be thankful down to our bones for this time together. May we take the time to feed each other, take care of each other, appreciate and trust each other, and say thank you. It is the only prayer we'll ever need.
I could say we need your offerings to keep the lights on, which is true, but more importantly, your generous gifts enable us to pay our employees fair wages, maintain the church's social justice programs, all of our outreach and enrichments programs, including those for children. They enable us to feed the hungry and save the unwanted, be they critters on 4 legs or 2 legs. Speaking of critters on 4 legs, I know that Carol mentioned it, but maybe not everybody heard that Change for Change this month goes to the Cat's Meow, a no-kill shelter for cats. Your donations help to feed, chip, spay, neuter, and find loving homes for these critters. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place, to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our affirmation. As our greeters pass among you, please be as generous as you are able.
Once upon a time, in the formative years of my journey toward ordained ministry, a wise mentor told me this story. It is not literally true, but it holds truths I wish to share with you today. The setting of the story is in the mid-1500s in Poland, where there existed a thriving group of anti-Trinitarians called the Polish Brethren. These mythical forebears of the modern Unitarian faith believed in the humanity of Jesus, freedom to interpret the Bible as they saw fit, and tolerance of individual belief. They regularly practiced a communion rite, which is very different from the Christian communion services we may be familiar with. Their gatherings in small house groups and the origins of their communion rite go back to the earliest Christian communities, reflecting the Polish Brethren's desire to return to what they thought of as pure Christianity. They did not share bread. They shared sweet cakes. They did not share wine. They shared pure water. They did not intone words of consecration. They asked each person to speak for themselves. Sitting together in a circle, they passed the communion elements, each speaking these words to the person next to them. I give you the richness of the earth, dear sister, brother, friend, that you might be strengthened in sharing life with others. I give you the water of life, dear sister, brother, friend, that you might be cleansed in body and spirit, so that you can live more deeply and care more widely. I give you the kiss of peace. I give you this time that you might tell us your answer. Who am I? These mythical Polish brethren lived a unique religious life, and we have much to thank them for as we look at the development of the free religious tradition. And we've much to learn from them about the meaning of the church and about ministry. While the story and the rite may be fictional, the truth of their way of life is not. In this church, when we talk about ministry, we talk about the reality that we are all ministers. In a meditation on ministry, the late Gordon McKeeman writes, "Ministry is all that we do together as we celebrate triumphs, miracles, and wonder. Ministry is what we do together in terror and torment, in grief, in misery and pain, enabling us in the presence of death to say yes to life." In this church, we recognize the special ministries we each have, the ministries of working with children, preparing worship, social activism, office work, gardening, cleaning, potlucks, repairing, organizing. All of these are ways of serving the community, and all of these can be ways of embodying the faith that we share. But none of them is by nature a ministry. And just as our church is not defined by a building or a time or a place, so ministry is not limited by time and space. Ministry can happen anywhere, anytime. McKeeman focuses our attention on that particular quality that makes an action a ministry. Ministry, he writes, is that quality of being in community that affirms human dignity. beckons forth hidden possibilities, invites us into deeper, more constant, reverent relationships, and carries forth our heritage of hope and liberation. Ministry is about getting out of our own way, about getting out of our tendencies to dwell on our own aloneness and our fears to the detriment of our sensibilities towards others. We may feel totally alone, but the truth is we are not alone. But we only know that when we begin to act as though someone else matters as much as we do. Then we are able to infuse our acts with the quality of ministry, and then we can truly minister to one another. Seeing others while in the midst of our own cares and tending to others takes practice and intention. We can practice our ministry when we come to the church or at home or at work, but we can learn more effectively if we practice regularly with a group of people who can share and learn together. Research has shown, and people seem to know instinctively, that somewhere around 10 people is optimum for participation and getting to know one another. And experience also shows that people who meet together regularly with less than 1 month between meetings are better able to maintain and grow their relationships. And most groups need some kind of a facilitator to help keep focus and make sure everyone has a chance to participate. And facilitators also need someone or some group to help them learn and grow in their role. We've been doing this kind of ministry, this small group ministry, in our church for some time. And indeed, new groups are continuing to form for a variety of purposes. The Covenant group program we are renewing now is one way of developing our ability to minister, with the added bonus of being an opportunity to be ministered unto. All over North America for the past 25 years or so, this grassroots movement has been spreading the way of the small relational group as a means of ministering intentionally and effectively to one another. The late James Luther Adams, professor of theology at the University of Chicago and elsewhere, maintained that people come to our religious communities for two reasons: ultimacy and intimacy. In reflecting on this observation, my former teacher, John Morgan, says, "Over the years, I found Adams' theory to meet the test of parish ministry. People come to our communities looking for a place to belong, that's the intimacy, and a place to seek meaning, that's the ultimacy. Meaning about living and dying and the spaces in between. And though I hoped the churches I served could meet these two needs, I sometimes found how short we fall." To the question of intimacy, he continues, we offered positions on committees. To the issue of ultimacy, we talked more about increasing membership and pledging rather than our depth of commitment to a cause in the world and to each other. And we often banked on Sundays to meet both these needs, even if that were possible. In my own experience in ministry, I've also found Adams' theory to be accurate. Over the years since I began my work with congregations, I've led many sessions of the new UU program for newcomers. And I usually ask people to write down what it is they want from their association with the church. I've found that most of the responses fall into three categories. One is what Adams would call intimacy. When people say they want a place where they can belong, where they're not shunned for having doubts or beliefs different from others. And when they say they're looking for significant relationships with like-minded people, when they say they're looking for community, I hear a desire for connection. And this is the category I have learned to call loving. Other people say they come for intellectual stimulation, to be challenged, to be exposed to new thoughts and ideas. They come so their children might learn the values of religious community, and they come to find out more about other religious points of view. They want to know and to exercise their minds. This category we might call learning. Still others say they want to be of service in the world. They want to connect with people who care about others. They want to be part of justice making. They want to get their hands dirty and feel that they have some purpose in life. These needs Adams might categorize with the need for meaning, but I call it doing. Nobody has ever said they want to be involved in a religious community in order to be on the board. Nobody has said they come to preserve the structure or to be an officer in the organization or to do fundraising. And yet, such maintenance is important in providing a community where one can grow in loving, learning, and doing. I rejoice in the people who do that work of maintenance. Thank you, Steve. Where are you? In my research on small group ministry, I found that loving, learning, doing, and a little bit of maintenance are the core elements of successful ministry groups. Loving, learning, doing, and a little bit of maintenance aptly describes what a religious community ought to be about. This is ministry in a nutshell. Loving, learning, doing, and a little bit of maintenance is what helps us become whole people. While each of us may need to focus more on one or the other of these areas at any given time, all of us need to incorporate all of them, all of these aspects into our lives on a regular basis. A small group is an ideal place in which to give people the opportunity to practice with each other the arts of ministry. It gives us the opportunity to experience the belonging and the meaning that we crave. So how about this for a scenario? In the year 2024, Las Cruces, New Mexico, a group of about 8 Unitarian Universalists meets regularly in somebody's home with a clearly stated, agreed-upon purpose. They create together a clear set of ground rules regarding how they will behave and what their responsibilities are. They call it a covenant. They begin with a welcome and a statement of the group's purpose, taking time to review the group's agreed-upon covenant. And they have some kind of opening words or ritual which ties the group to the church and the associations of which we are a part. They allow each person to check in or say briefly how they are and what's going on in their life today. The primary activity of the group is personal sharing around a topic introduced by the facilitator. As the group grows in confidence and a sense of safety, they are encouraged to move into experiencing, learning, planning, action, and reflection. Each group is asked to perform some act of service to the church or the larger community at some time during the year. Within the covenant group format, it is the group's choice what they do when they gather. At the agreed-upon time, the group checks out. How are you feeling now? What did you like about this meeting? And what do you wish were different? what preparations need to be made before the next meeting. Before parting ways, there's a closing reading or ritual which ties the group to its larger organization and its transcendent purpose. This pattern allows each group to develop intimacy and care, the loving aspect of ministry. It allows each group to focus more deeply on any one area of learning, doing, or loving as they wish. It supports people in their faith and encourages them to reach out in other aspects of their lives. It connects the group with the larger congregation and reminds them that they are meeting in a religious context. At any time, the group can decide to change their focus or to act on some topic that they've been focusing on, keeping in mind that ministry incorporates loving, learning, doing, along with a little bit of maintenance. The groups are free and flexible to do whatever they see is important to them at any given time. And because the group is small, they come to know each other very well. They can respond immediately and appropriately to a special need of one among them. And because they meet regularly, they can be intentional about their ministry to one another, helping one another to find meaning and service in their lives. And because their facilitators meet together for learning and support, they are prepared to deal with the unexpected. Little by little over the years, we in our congregation have learned some of the elements of small group ministry. The board and other groups regularly do check in at the beginning of meetings, and small groups have formed for a variety of purposes. And what a difference it makes in our church if all the groups are so intentional about ministry. What if each of our groups took time to have an opening which ties them to the larger movement? And what if they all gave each other time to check in on how they're doing in their personal lives? And what if the facilitators and the leaders met together with their minister to talk over how the group is going? And what if we took the meetings out of the church building and into the homes of members? What if we ministered to our non-Unitarian Universalist friends by inviting them to join small groups? And what if our groups grew to a size where we joyfully created additional groups from them? If all of these things happened, I would say that we were doing effective and intentional ministry. If all these things happened, I would say that the deepest needs and desires of our members and friends were being addressed. We can offer each other sweet cakes and pure water, the strength in sharing life with others, and the purity of body and spirit to live deeply and care widely. We can offer the kiss of peace, the love which brings acceptance and serenity. We can offer time, precious time, in order that we might come to know one another truly. This, then, is ministry to one another. So be it.
In gatherings, we are stirred like the leaves of the fall season, rustling around sacred trees, tossed hither and yon, until we come to rest together, quietly, softly. We come to gather strength from one another. We come to give strength to each other. We come to ask for strength from the Spirit of all that is and is not. When our hearts sing or when they frown, it is the way of compassion telling us to give. It is the way of peace telling us to share our gifts. For we are happiest and most powerful when love is made apparent in and through us. Spirit of the circle that is love, as we twirl in this dance that is life, we give thanks for reminding us each day of our task of ministering to each other with a searching glance, a safe touch, a generous smile, a thoughtful word. Thank you for reminding us that we are always building our beloved comunidad. Thank you for reminding us that through our covenant with you, we covenant with each other and are made whole. In gratitude, we celebrate. With open hearts and minds, we discover who we are, separate from each other and within each other. In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none. Amen. Pause. Blessed be. I'm Gillian Leng. I've been a UU all my life. But the point here is that I never experienced covenant groups until I came to Las Cruces very late in my life. And so I want to share with you what it's kind of like to be in a covenant group. You know, we've talked a great deal about what they're for, what they mean, what it can offer us, what we can offer to it. But I really want to talk to you about what it's like to be in a covenant group. Ginny Herrick, who I don't think is here today, which is a shame, but Ginny offered me a place in her covenant group when I first came to this congregation 9 years ago. And I accepted, and what I learned in that group was the structure of a covenant group, the listening, the willingness to keep my mouth shut. It's not that easy sometimes. We so often want to leap in and suggest something to somebody who's going through difficulties. That's not what a covenant group is about. A covenant group is about caring on an incredibly deep level, but not figuring that you know how to do it better than somebody else. That is really not the point. And so then COVID came along, and that eliminated all in-person contact. But I was fortunate enough to be asked to join an online group, which Reverend Nancy organized. And I have been in that covenant group since then. And I even sometimes lead it because I am trained now as a facilitator, which is what we are doing with these new covenant groups. We are training people to understand the mechanisms and to facilitate people in participating in a way that's good for everybody. So those are the two covenant groups that I've been talking about. But there's another one, and it's right behind me. The choir is a covenant group. It adheres to all of the restrictions and the benefits that a covenant group has. We agree to work together, to support each other in our quest to bring spirituality and fun to this congregation. We're led in this endeavor by our highly trained and infinitely patient director, Catherine Massey, who draws on her enormous musical knowledge and a career as a teacher of, get this, high school physics. That'll explain the patience. To bind us together in love and in service. That is what covenant groups do. That is why we want everyone in this church to experience this special opportunity with the newly forming covenant groups. Blessed be.
Please rise as you are able for hymn number 307.
We can extinguish this flame now because we know that in each of us glows the truth and the love to help us all light the way together. May you be blessed in your loving, learning, and doing, that true ministry be known among you. Amen. Blessed be.